Welcome to Till Next Time. We are your hosts. I'm Rebecca, and this is AJ.
AJ Spade.
Sorry, AJ Spade. My bad.
That's my
What
whole
we do?
moniker.
I'm sorry. I'll get that right. AJ Spade. Do you want me to restart?
Nope.
What? All right.
Leave it all in there, all the fumbles and everything.
All the fumbles, just showing how much of a mess I am. I should have just done raccoon makeup, made myself a trash panda. Anyways, we talk about random topics and things we learned about them, including fun or weird facts we learned that day. Grab yourself a little snack or a drink and just get cozy while we talk about whatever random different things we felt like researching at that time and the cool shit we learned. Maybe you might learn something too.
Bum. Yeah. So today we're gonna start off with our what we learned facts, fun facts of the day type spiel. You wanna throw one out first, or you want me to throw one out first?
I'll go first. Today I learned that in 2048, a treaty will be up for review to possibly allow countries to remove current protections on the continent of Antarctica. According to BBC.com, countries will be able to allow mining, drilling, or other forms of mineral exploitation of the continent, which raises concerns for the scientific and environmental communities.
I think we should already be doing that.
What? Really?
Forget the treaty. Let's find out what's in Antarctica.
Well, I mean, we got to be careful, though, with using those resources.
No.
No?
No.
There's so much untouched there. They're finding things like ancient rainforests from 90 million years ago and evidence of forests from 250 million years ago, like from the Triassic era. This is all untouched, and if we just start going in with our oil, penguins die because of oil. Like, oil is legit one of the factors decreasing penguin populations. We should not... Huh?
Relocate them. Relocate all.
Relocate all penguins.
We need to find out what's there, and then we can bring the penguins back. Do it. And then destroy the ocean and find... I'm just joking about all this.
Wow! I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
This is not real. Not serious at all, but your brain was going to explode in a second.
I know. I was waiting for you to tell me you were a flat earther.
No.
Hollow earther I could tolerate.
Yeah.
Flat earther,
I'm a hollow
get
earth.
out. None of that. No.
About the hollow earth.
Anywho, where's your fun fact, AJ? Is it that you hate the environment?
It's just that I made myself dizzy doing this, but one of my fun facts is that the human nose, this thing, it can remember 50,000 different scents. Bet you didn't even know there were 50,000 different scents.
Hold up. So when you say that the human nose can remember 50,000 different scents, like, is this something where if someone goes brain dead or something and they're in a vegetative state, so like say their brain is not connected or responding to stimuli, but the nose still has sensors? Anyways, the nose still works. Does this mean that the nose can recognize things, but the brain is not recognizing it? Or are you meaning like the nose-brain relationship combined?
I would think you would need your brain to remember the scent.
It just sounded like the nose had like a...
I don't think
okay. So like babies, for example, babies have that like knee-jerk reaction to suckle, right? Like it's just a thing. It's not something that they actively think about. It's just like...
It's like muscle memory.
Kind of, yeah. So I was thinking like maybe it was something like that, like a primitive, your nose knows when things are scary, even if your other faculties may not be there. That was my logic. That was my thought process.
Your nose knows.
Your nose knows.
I think it's more like, like when you smell something and like you remember like a certain memory, like You smell something and like reminds you of your childhood.
Yeah.
I think they mean more like that.
That's cool though. That's really cool. All
So
right.
memory noses. Oh, I had a really weird fact that it needs to be told to the world because I just found this out and I don't think anybody knows it.
Good.
Daddy longlegs have penises, which technically makes them not a spider.
Is that what disqualifies them?
That's what disqualifies them. They have penises. I didn't even know spiders didn't have penises.
Well, like, I guess there's
Yeah,
a
you stump.
that's a lot to process. I don't know.
Stump.
Huh? Is that why they're named Daddy?
That would be the weird reason to call them daddy. Like, oh, this spider has a penis. We're gonna call it a daddy.
My brain goes different
I
places.
wonder, do they reproduce different than normal spiders then?
Yeah, I don't know. We used to have them in our house growing up, and I thought they were super cool. Like, I would just like hang out with them. I'd
You
lay
had,
on the ground and watch them.
how many did you have? Is your house full of spiders?
It wasn't like full of spiders. There was just a couple of spiders that just like hung out next to like my dad's
That's,
workout equipment or
that's
something.
why you're gonna be a mortician. Because
Because
you
like spiders,
enough of
like
spiders.
those aren't related. Those are not
Yes, they are.
related.
They're creepy in dark places where you laid your head.
I didn't like sleep with the spiders or anything like that.
You don't know that.
Okay, so like I never like laid down near the nest of spiders and said, "Hello, spiders. Let's snuggle. It's
Well,
fun."
they say people swallow like 1,000 spiders in their lifetime while sleeping.
I know.
So you
I
probably
know.
ate some of those daddies.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
New fact: bullfrogs do not sleep.
They don't sleep?
Don't sleep. They're forever awake.
Are their lives super short? Like I love sleeping.
Bullfrogs live for quite well as long as frogs live.
An appropriate frog age is
Yeah.
when they live till.
They
Like
start off
that's
as tadpoles and then they grow up and they're a frog.
when they're frogs.
They're
All right.
not like a fly. They don't just live for a day.
Oh no.
So they're up for a while. They
Alrighty.
just don't sleep.
My other fun fact is that Antarctica's glaciers are reportedly 3% penguin urine, as the urine freezes on the glaciers. Thank you, penguins.
It's a whole lot of pee.
Yeah, that's a lot of pee. I wonder if it's like salt and stuff like that, or in some way it impacts the ice or like the water mixture in the ice and then lowers the temperature, sort of like when you put salt in the ice to make the ice cream at science class.
That's what you wonder? I wonder if they all pee in like the exact same spot all the time.
Huh. I imagine that they would be just kind of like birds. They just kind of as they go along.
I think they're smarter than that and they're making a pee penguin statue.
That is a thought.
Full pee penguin.
So are you thinking that they're like, what's the logistics of this pea penguin statue? Is it like they're carving it out of a block of urine that they're making over time, or are they just peeing in specific areas and hoping that it freezes to a good enough shape to eventually melt into a pea penguin statue? And how will they get the statue out of the ice?
Well, what they do is they pee on top of the ice.
Mm-hmm.
It freezes. Mm-hmm. Then they come back and they pee on top of that pee, and they just keep building it higher and higher.
Oh, right. And because the ice is going lower because it's melting. Okay, I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
What if the penguins are melting all the ice with their pee?
Penguins might be the cause of global warming.
Because pee's usually warm. I don't know if you ever peed cold pee.
That would be upsetting.
Yeah, that would be weird. Your pee came out cold. Not like slightly cold, but like ice cold.
Well, okay, but like if that's what we're used to, maybe it wouldn't be that weird. You know what I mean? Like if it'd be weird if we woke up one day and suddenly that's just how life was, and we'd be like, "What the fuck is going down here? Like,
Actually,
what the actual?"
it might be kind of refreshing, like a winter breeze.
Experiment for your urethra.
Spearmint pea.
Ew, God.
Oh,
How did we get here?
It would
What choices did I make?
It would suck if whatever you ate or drank, that's the temperature of your pee. Like if you ate ice cream, it came out cold. If you ate like a pepper, it came out super hot. Oh no. Forget I said that. People have that problem already with their pee on fire.
I don't know.
No one needs to pee fire.
All right, I feel like next time I'm going to avoid the damn pee topic because that was, I hate it.
I can go all day about pee.
I don't want to. So, wait, what topics are we covering first? Am I going into the jackass penguins or are you going into something now?
If we can start off with jackass penguins, then we can start off with jackass penguins. Why would we not start off with jackass penguins?
Jackass penguins it is. And while researching the jackass penguins, I actually learned that paleontologists have discovered evidence of 3 separate penguin species when observing fossils found in South Africa. Wow, talking is hard. What this means is that there were 3 separate times in which penguins ended up in South Africa and established a colony. The penguins' trip kind of ending up in South Africa is likely contributed to the currents known as the Antarctic Circumpolar and South Atlantic. And these currents kind of just nudged them off into the direction of South Africa, which is where they ended up. Based on the paper published by Daniel P. Keska and Daniel B. Thomas, it seems that all of these species have died out except for the one we know as the jackass penguin. The jackass penguin, which is also known as the black-footed penguin, can currently be found in multiple colonies on the coast of southern Africa, so around like Cape Town and places like that. They're generally described as not being afraid of people, and from my experiences, they really weren't. And they're apparently really easy to breed in captivity. The name of the jackass penguin apparently comes from the braying noises they make, being similar to that of a donkey. Unfortunately, their numbers are currently decreasing due to things like overfishing and competing with natural predators for food, aka fish. Another thing that contributes to their population decline is the oil spills, things like that. They get into the water and they can kill the penguins. So unfortunately, as I said, these species are decreasing. This is actually how I know that penguins are from the South Pole and polar bears are from the North Pole. I always kind of kept track of it because I'm like, okay, well, in Russia, you see videos of Hanger bears. In Russia, you see videos of polar bears, and in South Africa, you find penguins. So you know it's North. South.
I want to see a panga bear.
I didn't hear that part.
Panga bear.
Panga bear.
That'd be the most adorable thing in the world. It's a penguin and it's a bear.
Okay, so it would be a penguin bear. So kind of like a panda, but with like more black.
And it waddles. A waddling bear? That would be adorable.
Would they be deadly, like polar bears? Or
penguins? They'd be tiny, like penguins. They'd be tiny bears that waddle.
Penguin mouths are terrifying.
Well, so are polar bear mouths, but...
Well, I mean, bear mouths are, yes, they're terrifying, but they're not terrifying looking.
Okay, Picture this. You have a bear. It's a bear face, right? And it's tiny, like a penguin body. And
Okay.
it's coming at you like this, but it's waddling.
Okay, so it's got the bear face. I can handle that.
Yeah.
The penguin
No
face,
penguin
I'd
face.
probably be a little bit more like,
Yeah. Teeth
no,
and
thanks.
beaks combined are terrifying. You don't want that.
No,
Oh,
no.
so about these jackass penguins, it sounds like it's possible to domesticate one.
I mean, yeah, they. I don't know so much domesticated as in like a pet. It seemed more like a captivity, like they were chill with being kept in facilities that researchers put together or rescuers put together that were still kind of matching the penguin's natural needs. So I don't think it was so much like people would just open up the doors and be like, the penguin comes in and then he goes out when he needs to go potty and eats out of a bowl, as much as it was like, we have this place with a kiddie pool and some ice blocks and fish that we feed them, and so that's more the gist I was getting from it.
Ever since I saw that Jim Carrey movie, I wanted pet penguins.
Mr. Popper's penguin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they seemed cool. And if I could have a pet penguin, it's just fun to say pet penguin.
The penguin.
I have
One of my best friends is like
a
obsessed with
penguin.
penguins. She loves them.
One
And
of, one of my best friends is a penguin.
no one said obsessed with penguins.
Oh, well, it's funnier my way.
So what were you gonna talk about?
Is that better?
Hi girl.
That's the first thing I was gonna talk about was aliens in Antarctica. Aliens,
Al-
or more like almost aliens.
Almost aliens. All
Yeah.
right, tell me more.
So more than half of our planet's fresh water is in Antarctica. While most of it is frozen in the ice sheets, underneath ice pools and streams of water flow into one another and into the Southern Ocean surrounding the continent. Understanding the movement of this water and what is dissolved in it as solutes reveals how carbon and nutrients from the land may support life in the coastal ocean.
So that doesn't sound like aliens. That sounds like things that can survive in Antarctica, right?
Well, technically, when they call new species or new forms of life that haven't been studied before, they automatically call them alien.
Oh, okay. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
that's why it's almost alien. 'Cause it's
Okay.
still something of Earth, but it's not something that they've studied before. So it's
So, so wait, what are these possible creatures? What are these creatures like? Like, are they just microorganisms? Are they?
yeah, they're like tiny micro type things that live under the ice. Because if you don't know, in Antarctica, there is lakes, tons of lakes underneath the ice in Antarctica. Just and they're all
Mm.
but okay, fun fact about the lakes. The lakes don't freeze no matter how cold they get because of how condensed their area is, and it somehow keeps it from freezing. So the water under the ice is like negative 28 degrees, but it won't freeze.
Is it because like the pressure or something?
Yeah,
Like,
it's super pressurized.
ah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. And also another one of my facts that goes into why there's a lot of water, but we're not talking about that one right now. So talking about this one. But yeah, there's tiny particles in life underneath all that ice that they're just now starting to find. So they call them aliens.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
There might be more underneath there. And they say because of the conditions that they're in, that they're finding these things, that there might be life on other planets that have similar conditions.
Oh, that's actually really cool. So I wonder almost if it's something too that was like picked up from meteors. Because didn't you mention at one point that meteors hit more often there too?
Yeah, a crazy amount of meteors for some reason land in Antarctica all the time.
Do you think that these meteors could plant seeds of life in Antarctica?
Yes, I do.
That's fucking
Because
cool.
it can come from anywhere in space and it can have any kind of life on it, even tiny microscopic life. And once it lands here, it can thrive where there's no one at, like Antarctica.
Hmm.
Because it can break right through the ice and land in some water and then
Boom.
spread itself in the water,
And then it's evolution.
Yeah. Or space illusion.
All right.
Alien life.
Alien life. Oh no! Did you ever see the movie Evolution?
It sounds familiar.
Old movie about space and the aliens like go through the process of evolution, but like super rapidly, and by the end
Oh,
of it, they're
yeah.
this terrifying crab tick monster.
Yeah, didn't it start in a cave?
Yeah, it did, and it was like
Yeah.
this scary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that movie.
yeah. So, anyways, though, I got something else. So you mentioned that Antarctica has a lot of ice and stuff like that, and there is a lot of stuff that's under the ice. They have determined that around 250 million years ago, so around the early Triassic period, it was lush green and actually covered with forests and rivers. There's actually been tons of fossils discovered in Antarctica, including that of plants, reptiles, and early mammals. One set of early remains is 250-million-year-old Antarcticanax shackletotes. This creature was an iguanodon-sized reptile. Nadia, are you participating? Oh, let me start that. One early set of remains is 250 million year One early set of remains is 250-million-year-old Antarcticanax shackletonis. This creature was an iguana-sized reptile, which is interesting because you don't really associate reptiles with being able to survive in what we think of Antarctica today. So it's like further proof that it lived during a time where it was more temperate. They have also found they've also found burrows, which they've made casts of in Antarctica, and they've been able to find other burrows in South Africa that are nearly identical, like based off of scratch marks and size and things like that. In South Africa, they found a set of fossils from an ancient mammal called Thrinaxodon lyrinus. This mammal is described as being kind of like reptilian, but still kind of an early relative to mammals. But when I looked up photos of it, it just looked kind of like a possum. Which, I mean, I guess possums are kind of reptilian. They got that, like... Anyways, Thrinaxodon lyrinus wasn't technically a mammal. It's more like an ancient relative, like way, great aunt, because mammals didn't really arrive until later in the Triassic era.
So it's a baby reptile mammal type.
Thrinaxodon, yeah.
It's Godzilla's baby.
No, the Godzilla one is Antarcticanax.
Oh.
Shackletonax.
How it seems like a lot of your Antarctica facts follow all the way to South Africa.
Because they were actually connected during the Triassic. Yeah, they were connected during the Triassic era, back when it was the supercontinent Pangaea.
Facts.
So you'll actually find, it's actually really cool because you'll find a lot of similarities between South Africa and Antarctica with like fossils that you might find, but you also kind of find like differences too on Antarctica. So it kind of shows still that there was some level of geographic diversity of the species between the two areas.
So according to scientists and people, Africa is the motherland. So it's where everything started.
Mm-hmm.
So though putting those two together as a supercontinent, technically, Antarctica and Africa would be where everything started.
Well, Pangaea was all the continents. It was all big one happy family of continents. Hello, group hug of continents.
So why they call Africa the motherland?
Because it may have been the root. I honestly don't know. I really shouldn't answer that one. I think they call it the motherland because that's where humans first came into the
Well,
picture.
that's where they say they found the first human, like fossilized lady.
Yeah, so I mean that might be what they mean then. Like humans originally lived in the area that became Africa.
But what if they dig in Antarctica in all the ice and then find something older than that?
Then we realized that Antarctica was mother.
Yeah, we don't know who the mother is.
We quest to find our mummy.
Next, I'm going to talk about volcanoes in Antarctica.
Hey, that's like dinosaurs and volcanoes. They go like hand in hand.
Yeah, they created each other or something like that. I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's not a true fact, anybody. I just completely made that up.
You went in a different direction.
Yeah. So, the movement of continents is far slower than a snail's pace. It's more like watching your fingernails grow. But speed up the movie over 10 millions of years and it begins to look like a demolition derby. Riding over Earth's mantle on strong but flexible plates, the continents smash together and tear themselves apart, creating rugged mountain and deep ocean trenches. Hot magma from below the crust can rise toward the surface like a blister pushing up below the skin. They're really descriptive about this. These gas and liquid rich rocks create volcanoes, and they are created by hotspots. Material that rises from more than 400 million. I said that 400 miles, not million. 400, 400 miles down, or even as deep as the core mantle boundary. The ocean's crust and continental plates glide over these hot spots through time, leaving scars over millions of years. Reveal the plate's path. It sounds like I just explained to you how volcanoes are created.
You did.
Yeah, I sure did. But as the coastal ice shelves that hold back glaciers begin to thin and melt away, the glaciers, essentially rivers of ice, are suddenly free to flow more quickly. If their channels happen to carry them over hot spots in the mantle, they can flow all the faster. So basically, what it's saying is ice is melting in Antarctica, and it is also moving and smashing together, creating mountain type volcanoes. And these are in certain hot spots, which causes volcanic activity.
So how much of Antarctica is impacted by the volcanic activity?
Well, scientists have discovered around 91 volcanoes underneath Antarctic ice sheets. And that's in addition to the 47 that were already known before then.
Oh
And
shit.
they say due to climate change, a lot of the volcanoes like erupt, but they're underground, well, under ice. So they're kind of helping the ice melt.
I was gonna say that's the last thing the ice needs is
Yeah.
heat from the underneath as well as on top.
So with climate changing, which is making it warmer already, making ice
Mm-hmm.
melt, it's also making the volcanoes erupt, which is also making the ice melt. So
Good,
they're getting hit from both sides.
good, and they're still
Yeah,
trying to hold out.
they're still.
Mad props.
Antarctica does not want to be ice anymore. That's my belief. It
It's
wants
gonna
to,
come back.
it wants to be Africa again.
Wants to be. I
Wants
love
to
it.
join back with Africa so it can
All
be the
right,
true motherland.
that's. I like it. I like it. All right. Is it my turn?
Yep.
All right. So there are other more recent discoveries, more recent remains, I should say. But the recent remains and recent deaths of Antarctica have kind of played a pretty big role in Antarctica's current structure and possibly even its future. The reason I say this is because there were 200-year-old remains of a Chilean woman discovered near the coast of Antarctica. These remains might actually be used by Chile to try to argue for land when the treaties are up for negotiation, due to the fact that they can prove that they have the earliest known evidence of humans being on Antarctica. So they're saying, hey, we were there first, we get claims because we were there. So that's one example. And overall, there have been a lot of attempts to research Antarctica and lay claims to the land. Unfortunately, with the mixture of the harsh climate and unpredictable landscape, there have been a number of accidents and unfortunate deaths that have impacted how current day travel and research is conducted there. There are even specialized travel vehicles made for traversing crevasses, as well as technology that has developed to detect them above ground. There's even like snow runner type vehicles that are supposed to take images and scan for open areas without necessarily cracking some of the snow bridges that form over these crevices. I said crevasses. Crevasse.
I was going to ask you about that.
Like, what's the crevasse? It's crevice. I'm bad. It's cool.
I thought you just said it in a fancy way.
Fancy way? No, I don't know. Crevasse.
Like how people say vases and vase.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, so like the Chilean woman was discovered.
You said 200 years old?
200 years old. I think they said she was from 1819, possibly.
I wonder what she was doing there.
That was actually a big kind of point of contention, because they're like, how did she even get there? Some of the theories I've seen have been things like sailors taking a woman from Chile and then just dropping her off at a random shore. Some people have considered maybe she was a whaler or a fisherwoman or something like that, but I have no idea.
That's a huge mystery. Just one random woman 200 years ago just decided, I'm going to go to Antarctica.
Ended up, well, so it was on the Shetland Islands, which are near the coast of Antarctica. So, but still, like, they're using it as grounds to lay claim to the land because it's closer than any other remains have been discovered.
Yeah. Or she could have just got left there. Like, they were explorers and she talked too much and they left her there.
They talk too much. Ridiculous. You're bad.
Shut up, Karen. And they left her.
Karen, fix your face, girl.
Karen. She had the bob cut and everything.
She demanded to speak to the captain, and I'm like, you know what, girl?
I just left her. Like, I'm the captain now.
So, anyway, there's actually more recent bodies, too, because it turns out with Antarctica, again, it's a very dangerous place, and so when people unfortunately pass away on Antarctica, they can't always collect the remains right away. It's kind of similar to Everest in the sense that it's sometimes too dangerous to even do a retrieval or rescue mission. And what's unfortunate, too, is a lot of the times these deaths end up being kind of like a reminder, like you need to be careful because of the fact that Antarctica can be so dangerous. It's very beautiful from what I hear. But, I mean, there's even a town in Antarctica where in order to live there, you have to get your appendix removed first. Because the only hospital is so far away that they're just not willing to risk it. Like, just get your appendix removed because we're not going to have you get an appendicitis. We're not going to have you get appendicitis and end up here because you're going to die before you can even get it out. So, literally, one of the requirements to live there is to get your appendix out.
So, should you get your tonsils out, too?
Tonsils don't normally cause death the way that appendicitis does. Like, tonsils, you have issues for an extended period of time, usually, but then it all goes to crap.
So you have more time to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mostly you get there. Most the really big way people get there is by the ship. So you can't, if you have a medical problem or something, yeah, it's gonna take a while to get you back. There's no helicopters coming to save you.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy out there. Like
Yeah,
you are very limited in your transportation. Um, and then I mentioned earlier the crevices. So
the
what
crevasse.
I learned about the crevasses, what I learned about the crevices is, I mean, obviously they're dangerous, but they're actually huge. They're like these giant cracks in the ice. And then when the wind blows and the snow's all blowing and stuff like that, it can actually get covered by like snow bridges. These snow bridges can be anywhere from like a couple of centimeters to like a bit thick. So like a skier might be able to just ski right over it and not have a problem. But when you start bringing in like technical research equipment and like big vehicles, that's when you start running into issues. So what ended up happening was on October 14th of 1965, a four-man team of John Ross, Jeremy Bailey, David Wild, and John Wilson were traveling near Pyramid Rock to scan the depth of the ice using radio wave technology. This equipment was mounted on a specialized tractor called a muskeg. The muskeg was attached to a sled, which was also run by a team of dogs with a distance of about 30 yards between the muskeg and the sledge. So to kind of get a picture of how we were set up, John Ross was behind the sledge and he was with the dogs. And Jeremy Bailey was driving the muskeg with David Wild and John Wilson in the cabin. When the accident occurred, John Ross was with the dogs, and he just said that the sled just suddenly stopped. He looked around because he didn't hear any noises or anything, and he saw that the tractor, the muskeg, carrying his companions was nowhere to be found. So he started to walk over to where he last saw it, and he saw that it was about 100 feet down in this crevice, and it was like crushed between the walls. So the treads were up against one side, and the cabin, unfortunately, was crushed against another. Unfortunately, with the wind and the darkness and the snow blowing in on the screen, it would have been very difficult to see anything, even if it wasn't covered by a bridge. It's usually described as like a thin blue line to identify a crevice. And seeing it would have been near impossible due to the conditions of the time. So Ross basically tried to get to his colleagues. Jeremy Bailey responded after about 20 minutes, but he said that both Wild and Wilson had passed away and that he himself was in really bad shape and was not going to make it. Ross tried to go down to retrieve his friends. He tried to get a rope, but Bailey told him not to do it, just go on. So after a while, Bailey screams and then stops responding. Ross at that point tries to radio into the rest of the research team that they had split off from, but is unable to. So the next day he decides to take the sled dogs and go back to the main area. It's not until days later that they are able to come back to the scene of the accident, and they lower themselves down and realize that their colleagues had been crushed when the vehicle was pushed into the crevice and the wall started to get more narrow. And there was no way that their bodies were able to be recovered at the time. So they had a small memorial. They set up crosses, and they actually were able to continue with their work, keeping their colleagues in their memory. And there are multiple memorials now throughout Antarctica of not only, David Wild, Jeremy Bailey, and John Wilson, but other people who have passed away while trying to research it. And with their death, they actually have worked now to develop technology that can see through the ice or can see if there's gaps or see if there's empty space. They've developed vehicles to try to kind of traverse these areas. And, unfortunately, these accidents and these horrible sacrifices help us kind of be reminded of how dangerous this can be. You think like, oh, we'll keep an eye out, we'll be safe, and sometimes things happen. So you have to be like careful and also grateful for the moments you have. I always talk about death.
I mean, but just think about that dude's day though. Like they were sledding, like going to look at something, and then it just gets really quiet behind him, and he turns around, and there's the actual people that he was with, are no longer there. Like
Gone.
they just vanished.
Yeah.
You're
So
like,
that is like, so he was behind them. He was like 30 meters behind them. And so like that's something that kept popping into my head too, was like,
oh,
how
they were in
was
front of him?
Yeah, the muskeg was in front of them, and then the dogs were like attached, or the sled was attached to the muskeg. But there was enough line, so apparently when the muskeg went down, it didn't pull the dogs or everything with him.
Yeah.
Because he was able to use them to get back. Because that's another thing I was wondering, is like, what would have happened if it was like deeper? Because then all of them would have been dragged in, you'd think, right? And that would have been super sad too. Like, I mean, it's already sad, but then you throw in a bunch of puppies and another human.
Yeah, but man, you're there. There's people with you. You're behind them. Like, yeah, we're doing good today, and then
all of a
nothing.
Sudden,
Just nothing. Just
no, like, isn't it? It's crazy though. It's crazy because that's exactly how it is, and you hear people talk about emergency situations kind of similar. Like one moment you're chilling there and everything's good, you're having a good time, and then the next moment everything is just fucking left turned sideways insanity.
Yeah, it's like Humpty Dumpty on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
He just fell.
I didn't have anything to do with it, officer. It wasn't me.
But like I was gonna say, the crevices they're closing themselves, and like
it's not so much that they're closing themselves. It's more that like if snow and ice build up along the top of the crevice, so like say that there was wind blowing and snow starts to form, right? It can build a snow bridge using basically the wood and they can build a snow bridge basically using the wind and the snow. Wind and snow. Wood is apparently wind and snow.
Yeah.
So the wind blows and it's like pushing the snow along, and if the snow lands in places, it can like either build up a little bit of a ledge. There's a bunch of different ways in which it can hide a crevice because, crevice is a big old hole in the ground.
I mean, man, you fall into an ice hole, and then you're like, all right, guys, we're in this ice hole right now. Let's try and get out of it. And then 3 seconds later, it's slowly crushing you.
I don't know if that's how it happened.
Or is it like this? Like you fall in and like it like you would fall in, but it gets thinner and thinner as it goes down.
I think it's going to be more like that, where it gets thinner and thinner because it's cracks in the actual ice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if perhaps there's a big old opening from like a volcano or something, you get a crack and then you fall into the volcano.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm actually saying is, I think that's generally how the cracks are, is it's thinner and thinner and thinner. I think with this particular scenario, because they were in the vehicle and the vehicle fell vertically, basically, so it landed like this, where it was smushed, bottom and top squished.
Yeah.
So I think that most of the damage would have been done upon impact when like they first hit, and then just everything else would have been probably after they had already died.
Yeah. So it's basically like smushing a marshmallow in between a crevice. So like it'll just squish on impact. Mm-hmm. Almost like squeezing toothpaste out of the. Why do I keep being so descriptive about this?
Bad, first of all. Secondly, on the topic of marshmallows, I had a s'mores frappuccino today, and that was sugary and no caffeine, but it was tasty.
Graham crackers on it?
It did. It had little powdered graham crackers. I think it had marshmallow fluff in it. Like, it was weird but cool. That was about it.
From Starbucks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was craving a Java chip frappuccino, but then I saw that they had s'mores frappuccino, and I'm like, maybe it has coffee. I don't even know why I've been craving these things. These are things I had when I was a kid. I guess I'm like trying to desperately recreate. desperately reclaim my youth.
They're putting s'mores in everything now.
Because s'mores are amazing and I love marshmallows, so fight me.
Roughly 2 million years ago, the Taylor Glacier sealed beneath it a small body of water which contained an ancient community of microbes. Trapped below a thick layer of ice, they have remained there ever since, isolated inside a natural time capsule. That just sounds cool. Evolving independently of the rest of the living world. These microbes exist in a place with no light or free oxygen and little heat, and are essentially the definition of primordial ooze.
Did you just say primordial beings?
No, primordial ooze.
Primordial ooze.
Ooze.
Hmm.
The trap.
Because they've been there, or?
Yeah, they're there with no light, no little to no heat, and no oxygen, pretty much.
That's actually really cool.
It's an ooze.
It's an ooze. It's an ooze that was Focus.
It's an ooze.
It looks like it's heated, but I can't get it to focus.
Except it's not white. There you wait, almost. There you go.
Gross. I'm gross. Sorry.
The Trap Lake has very high salty. I'm guessing that's salt.
Salinity?
Salinity. And is rich in iron, which gives the waterfall its red color. A fissure, that is my favorite word in the whole world. A fissure in the glacier allows the subglacial lake to flow out, forming the falls without containment. Oh, I'm stupid. That says contaminating. Contaminating the ecosystem within. Basically creating blood falls.
Blood falls.
The existence of the blood falls ecosystem shows that life can exist in the most extreme conditions on Earth. Though tempting to make the connection, it does not prove, however, that life could exist on other planets with similar environments and similar bodies of frozen water, notably Mars and Jupiter's moon, Europa. As such, life would have to arise from completely different chain of events. Even if it doesn't confirm the existence of extraterrestrial life, Antarctica's blood falls. I always have to specify that because that's the coolest thing. Blood falls is a wonder to behold, both visually and scientifically. So basically, there's waterfall and lake that looks like blood in Antarctica.
Blood.
It's just blood. So much blood. But yeah,
definitely.
It's really cool.
That is actually really cool.
I'll throw
a
visual up of it, but
yeah,
it's really. It looks like a murder scene.
Just pouring out of the earth, just
like someone killed all the penguins, and that's all the penguin blood.
No, it's sad. You said killed all the penguins.
But it's pretty much just trapped iron, and when it comes up to the earth, like above the ice, the oxygen oxidizes it and turns it into kind of what rust is.
Yeah. Mama Nachi is hardcore. I love it. Like you see some of the things that like minerals or plants or dinoflagellates or whatever can do, and it's just incredible. Like, you see the lights and the colors, and there's like those bodies of water that are crazy colors because of the amount of minerals in them. So,
like, there's actually a full green lake. I forgot where it's at, but it's like fully green.
That's really cool. Sorry, my cat fell off her chair.
There's also a black one, a black lake.
Black lake?
The water's just black.
That's really cool. Is it still black when you take it out of the lake, or like is it something where
that's just what it is? Like,
that's cool.
All the stuff that's in it, when it hits the oxygen, it changes the color of it. So
weird.
Black. Yeah.
That's really cool.
I want to get some blood water just to like keep in a vial.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is
this is my blood water. I wonder if you poured it onto something that was steel, if it would rust the steel faster because rust was already there.
Maybe because it has so much iron in it.
Yeah.
It's rich in iron.
Rich in iron.
So it will probably make the process a lot faster.
Right.
Yeah. But like they said, it's possible that it could be like the same thing can happen on like Mars or Jupiter's moon.
Yeah, Europa.
Yeah, but they're not sure because of the same events that happen in Antarctica might not happen on those planets.
Okay. Yeah.
But they also could.
Unless these life forms are meteors that crashed in Antarctica because Antarctica is like, we're going to take all your meteors.
And that's what made the water red. Because the meteors could have landed in the water and gave it more iron.
Mm-hmm. And then been buried.
Yeah.
My eyeliner is so uneven.
It had no oxygen and no light, and it just became stronger. Now you have a blood.
Powered through. It evolved, and now we have blood water.
Blood water.
Blood water.
I think that's really cool. I want to, if I could ever see like just one thing, like someone just asked me like, hey, you want to see one thing on Earth? Yeah, I would be like, take me to Blood Falls.
Blood Falls.
I want to see Blood Falls.
I think it's cool to see those trees that bleed too. Like their sap is like blood red or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Would I rather see blood falls or blood trees? I don't know. That's a difficult one. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, so like I guess the other argument is like blood trees. Is it like a forest of bleeding trees? So you walk through and there's just blood on all the trees, or is it like, because if it's just one blood fall versus a forest of bleeding trees, I think I would go for the forest. I'd be surrounded by the blood. That's so creepy. Oh, I'm so creepy.
When you break it down, though, the blood falls is just iron water, and the blood trees are iron sap.
Is it really?
Yeah. Iron.
That's cool.
Iron just turns everything into blood.
Iron. Well, I mean, that's why our blood is red. It's the hemoglobin with the iron.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of rich iron that grows in the soil. Well, it's in the soil when the trees grow. So they absorb a lot of iron.
Oh, and that's how they get rid of it?
Yeah, and they're sap. Well, every tree pretty much gives out sap.
But it's not all blood.
Yeah, theirs just happen to be rich in iron. So when it hits the oxygen, blood tree.
That's really cool. Thank you for teaching me about that.
Blood falls.
Blood.
So much blood. But yeah, I want to see everything though. I want to see the Black Lake.
That'd be really cool. I just like the tour in general. I want to see like that hallway of wisterias. They're like all these wisteria trees with like all of the flowers and stuff, and they're trimmed to have like an archway, so you can just walk under like this giant tunnel of wisteria trees. But I don't remember where it is. But I really want to see that.
This is the second podcast, and in both podcasts, you brought up tree subjects.
I like trees. I like death. I don't like death. I like creepy, morbid stuff.
Every podcast, we're going to get a new tree fact.
Tree fact!
Tree fact of the day. Blood trees.
Yay.
But yeah, that's really cool though.
Yeah, well, thank you for teaching me about that.
I wonder if I can do an experiment with that. Like, get a bunch of iron and, like, get a bucket of water.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't it might rust the bucket.
Probably.
What doesn't
But I
rust?
think having a little contained vial of blood water just sounds so cool.
Yeah, it does. And just Antarctic water.
Right?
What if it stays cold forever?
Well, considering that Antarctica reached like its highest temperature on record in February of this year, I don't think that its water is going to magically stay cold forever.
No.
I think its water is going to do whatever the rest of the area.
It'll stay cold forever. Magic water. I wonder how long. Well, okay, if everything's melting, if everything did melt, we'd all die. But besides that, would the blood fall stay blood fall?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Wonder what would be unleashed if all the ice melted, besides, our immediate death. There's so much stuff that's under that ice.
So the stuff for sure we know is the sea levels will rise. And whatever is underneath. Ooh. Yeah, I'm thinking of like fossils and stuff because they have discovered a lot of fossils in Antarctica. So that'd be cool to like see those fossils. I think some of them are currently on display in a couple of places, but they're mostly like pieces of bark and like evidence of plants and stuff, which is still really cool. But
see, we would like all the ice to melt to see what's there,
but not like actually.
Yeah, but we don't want it to melt.
Yeah, I don't want that to melt.
But we would like it to melt to see what's there. But it's a double-edged sword.
I mean, I wonder what the imaging technology is going to be like, or even if there's like little drone vehicles that can go. That's me pretending to be a drill, but I don't want to like.
I mean, sonar should be pretty developed by now.
Yeah.
Because they got like sonar on boats where they can like see hundreds of miles under the water.
If you hear weird noises, my dog is going.
Now you're making that noise.
Well, yeah, I made that noise now, but like, if my face is doing nothing, just like, and you hear, it's my dog.
But yeah, sonar. I wonder if it's powerful enough to get through ice like it does water.
Well, I know that they were using radio waves to check for the thickness of ice, so they may be able to do stuff like that to see what else is in there. I don't know enough. I definitely was reading up on Antarctica quite a bit over the past couple of days, but I'm certainly no expert. Well, this was another wonderful episode of Till Next Time.
Hope you all enjoyed. You can follow us on YouTube, and that's on Wednesdays. Video drops. And for audio, wherever podcasts are found, currently we are on, I think, 7 different podcast platforms. So if you have one of those, check it out on podcast. Give us a 5-star review. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all come back. Rebecca, say your line.
Thank you so much. We'll see you till next time.